G'day viewers, my name is Michael and welcome back to Single Racer. And now in my last video you might have heard me talk about the final death of the Holden Commodore. A 40-year history basically just gone. And from everything that I've read, I think the executives at GM have realised that it's just a joke really to put a 6-cylinder front-wheel drive car to what has been a rear-wheel drive V8 for the last 40 years and try and call it a Commodore. And now, I'd prefer not to get into the politics of the whole thing because naturally there are 6-cylinder Commodores in the past as well, but essentially Australia knows Commodore as a rear-wheel drive V8, and the Commodore or Holden and Ford rivalry is well known in Australia. Now, I'm not going to try and lay the blame to whether it was the government not supporting our car manufacturing industry or whether it was simply Holden and, for that matter, Ford, who didn't have the foresight to see that Australians were going to adopt the SUV kind of style for their family car rather than stick with a standard large petrol-drinking four-door sedan. Yet in the end, it all arrived at the same point, and that is the closing of our car manufacturing industry here in Australia, and the executives may be realising that the Commodore name should be dead and buried and just have a new future vehicle, whatever that name becomes, from the Opel group or the Chevrolet group, whoever decides to take over and whatever name they decide to give it. But it's a fresh start, at least from that point of view. And a couple of days ago I did hear that the manufacturing industry in Australia could be producing electric cars, which is great, so I might actually apply for that. But all kidding aside, I just thought I'd do this last video of the Holden Commodore on Bathurst as a kind of tribute, because even though in Australia we are known very much as either a Ford man or a Holden man, and you usually weren't one or the other, I have such an appreciation for cars in general that I've admired both cars in their own way, and just appreciate all those cars that came from this long 4-decade history. And so on that basis, I thought I would show off this mod, which from memory I don't think I've ever shown off before, because it is the Holden Commodore, but partly because it's arguably, other than the Maloo Ute that I featured in the last video, the only true Commodore that I have. I have plenty of Tiranas and other Holden and Ford cars, but not so much specifically a Commodore. And this is called the Holden Commodore VL Group A. Now, in my opinion, it's not one of the prettier cars. To me, it kind of looks more like a tank. My personal favourite Holden has always been the sleeker, curvier Monaro, the modern Monaro. But I thought I'd show it off, but I've got some good news and some bad news about this particular car mod. And so the bad news is this is not the mean rear-wheel tyre spinning version from HSV or Walkinshaw, even with all the side skirts and the spoilers and all that you see on this car here. But unfortunately it feels like the standard 6-cylinder family car with just all the spoilers and side skirts added on. It's very kind of plain, unfortunately, in its handling, but therein lies the good news. And so the good news is that, I often spout that my channel is more for the beginner or intermediate type drivers that we're all trying to improve together, including myself. So this automatic feeling car is a fantastic handling car. Like, maybe not so much out and out handling, but it is so stable and easy to drive. It's actually a fantastic car mod if you're not looking for that really high-end GT3, monster handling type of vehicle. So if you're looking for a more stable car to try and improve your driving, this is perfect. And so on that basis, there's nothing more to do or say than to take it out on my favourite Australian track, of course, Bathurst. But just a little bit of housekeeping in that I normally put the link, which I will do, to this car in the description, but the link is generally a direct link to the car. But in this case, what I'll do is because it's a tribute to Holden in a sense for the whole video, is I'll put a link to the AssettoLand section of all the Holden cars, so you can see if you're interested in this car, what other Holdens are there as well. Okay, so this is Michael signing out for Single Racer. I'll catch you next time. See you later, and let's go Commodore hot lapping.